How do you feel about, that's a two-part question, I guess. How do you feel about Measure G, and what do you see as the benefits or drawbacks of a charter city?
Well, Measure G is an interesting situation. I think that, some numbers have been shown to me that potentially the city could save some money on projects. I'm not sure how real those numbers are and what they add up to, because you have a couple issues. Anything that's state or federally funded, any part of it is going to supersede the entire purpose of Measure G. You're still going to have to go to prevailing wage if there's even $1 of state or federal funds. So the real benefit or the real savings on big projects aren't going to be there, because you're still going to have probably some state or federal funding. On the smaller project, yes, you'll have some savings, but at the expense of who? And that's kind of where you're looking at. If you're going to reduce the wages of local labor substantially or very significantly, then that affects the overall income and economy of our city or our valley. Because if a person's making $10 an hour instead of $20 an hour, then that just cut out $10 an hour that they're going to spend in our economy, that they're going to go buy a house, or they're going to afford a car, or they're going to buy groceries. And so it's really a trickle-down effect. One of the cons that I have with the Measure G is the potential for abuse of power. It certainly gives the council a considerable amount more power than they have currently. If you have the wrong people there in the wrong time, I think that it could do more damage than good. And I'm not saying that the wrong people are there now. I'm just saying that at some point in time, there could be decisions made that are detrimental to our city because the wrong people got elected for the wrong reasons. And it's a three votes, and they can change a lot. So I am worried about the potential for that. I'm looking for some kind of safeguards that can be put in place to maybe on certain types of changes to city ordinances or city law that maybe it needs a 4/5 or maybe it needs a 5-0. I don't know, but there certainly needs to be somebody to take a real close look at that, because there is a potential there. And certainly the savings. If you're going to do smaller projects and you're going to use a cheaper labor force, are you ultimately going to get the quality that you're getting when you're going with a big company and you're paying maybe a higher rate? And if let's say we do a roads project and we save millions of dollars because we use another company and we're not doing prevailing wage and whatever, but that road starts cracking and breaks down and we have to come back and redo it 3 years later, as opposed to a road that's done properly that we don't have to touch for 15 years, then ultimately where's our cost savings? So, it's one of those things where there is some definite pros and cons to it. And I would love to see it really spelled out where there's substantial cost savings that still continues with quality, still gives our local labor force the right wages, that livable wages that they can use in this economy. And I'd like to have some safeguards that the current council or future councils wouldn't be able to maybe enact things that wouldn't be to the betterment of the entire community.
So do you support it or not?
Initially I came out and I supported it because initially everybody's saying, hey, we're going to save millions and millions of dollars to the city, and this is a way that we'll be able to stretch our budget. The more and more I get into it, and the more and more I've talked to people, I'm not sure that we really save that much. And so I'm really starting to lean towards maybe not favoring it, because if the savings is minute in the sense of a city budget, and you go back to the philosophy, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And I know some of my opponents have said, well, the state can't balance their budget, and do we want them making the rules for us? The state's inability to balance their budget has nothing to do with general law that all cities follow. I mean, general law is general law. And it seems to have worked for how many years? Are we big enough to go to a charter city and a mayor-run city? I don't think so, and that's why I've really moved away from supporting Measure G.
But the charter city and the mayor are two different things.
Correct, but it does give it gives the council the power to choose if they want to go that direction any time, as long as they have 3/5 vote. And this is where the power gets away from general law to charter city, the council can make that decision at any point in time that they say, okay, we want to go to a mayor-run city. Everyone in favor, 3-2. Okay, we have a mayor-run city now, and that's where I have some concern. So I've moved away from my initial support of Measure G because I don't see the real cost savings, and I see more cons than benefits.
Okay. Just one final question, and you can, obviously answer this any way you want. I would just ask you to keep it as succinct as you possibly can because it's kind of open-ended.
Okay.
Why should people vote for you, and why should we endorse you?
I think people should vote for me because I care. I care about the city. I think that obviously this is my third time running. If I didn't care, I wouldn't be running. I certainly don't enjoy the abuse of certain people, attacking me publicly or privately. But I can live with all that if I can get in there and do what's right for the city. If I can make the changes, if I can make the city better today than it is, or better tomorrow than it is today, from me being on the council, then I can live with, certain people attacking me. That's fine. That kind of comes with the job. As far as why the Imperial Valley Press should endorse me, I think, that's certainly, that's almost a question I'd like to ask you guys, but, I think that I've shown that I'm dedicated. I've been around. I don't get on boards to have titles behind my name. I'm always working. I'm always doing things. I got on the downtown Centro board and vice president for the last 3 years. We have significantly changed the downtown. Is it where we want it to be? Nowhere near where we want it to be. But where we got it and where we are now, we've made significant changes to the benefit. I was appointed to the fair board, and one of the first things that I wanted to do was come back to changing the way that we do the fair and offering entertainment every single night in the grandstand, and really bringing, really having people say, hey, this is not the same old fair. And I got in there, and Joe Montenegro and I worked on the entertainment, and we redid the whole thing. We brought in new grounds acts, and the one thing you didn't hear this year from people that went to the fair was it wasn't the same old fair. It was different. And so I have a track record of going and getting into things and being active and being involved and doing the work and making changes. And that's exactly what I'm going to bring to the council. As involved with the Workforce Development Board for the county, I chair that board. I was just reelected for another term. 33-member board elected me unanimously because they saw that I was bringing leadership, that I was bringing a working atmosphere with everybody, and it's hard to bring 33 people together. It's very hard, but I did it, and I brought them all together, and we had one vision, and we had one goal, and so and it's a lot of work, and I spend a lot of time doing those things, but it's because I care about those individual deals that I get involved with, and I want to make them better. And I certainly, if my name's tied to something, I don't want to ever fail, because that's my name, my reputation that's on the line. So everything I've gotten involved with, I think, has always come out better than when I started, and that's exactly what I'm going to bring to the City Council.